What's going on? This is Blaine with From Riff and Tone. Today I'm bringing you 3 shred guitar albums that every guitar player should listen to and own. So all of these are at least 30 years old, and I'm bringing them, I want to make a video on this because I wanted to shed some light on them to newer guitar players that maybe haven't heard of these artists, and just for discussion for old school guys that have been listening to this since they came out. So the first album that I have here is, we'll go with this. This is Al Di Meola, Elegant Gypsy. This came out in 1977. I believe he was like 26 years old when he recorded this. And just from the confidence on this cover and back cover that he has, you know he's about to shred your fucking face off. Like, look at this. You can only get away with that when you play like that. So, this is considered a jazz fusion album, but there's a lot of elements of Latin music in it as well. So Latin fusion, I guess you can say, because he has a lot of classical or acoustic guitar playing that's very flamenco-like and very just Latin inspired. And there's tons of shred on this album, but one of the main things that I like about it is the amount of feeling in all the songs. You can really like, it's a great album to sit back and you can really absorb it and really feel what he's playing. Especially the opening track is Flight Over Rio, and in that song it opens up with one of the most groovy parts ever written in music. And there's just something about that part that when you listen to it, you're gonna hear what I'm saying. That it's just you feel it, And then once he lures you in and makes you jam to it, then he just starts fucking shredding. I mean, there's some killer licks in that song and just on this album. So this is definitely one to check out. I thrifted this album at Goodwill for like 50 cents. So it was a killer find. I got another live album, and I think Casino was with it. So 3 albums for $1.50. Big time score. All right, next album. This is Vinnie Moore's The Mind's Eye. This was released on Sharpnel Records. So Sharpnel released a bunch of great artists, a bunch of shred artists, aside from Vinnie Moore. I think that dog on Animal Crossing that plays guitar, he released an album on there too. Obviously Vinnie Moore is a big time shredder, but one of my favorite things about his playing is how catchy his harmonies are. You can really, when you listen to this album, each song you can hum something from it. It really sticks in your head. Especially on the song, for me personally, the song Daydream is probably a standout track. Because, man, the first time I heard that song, I listened to it, I'm like, I have to learn that shit. Because it just stuck in my head. It's just that damn good. So, and there's a lot of shred guitarists that I hear that, yeah, they can shred, but it doesn't really stick, So the fact that his harmonies stick so well is something that I really like about this album. And then you see him on the back. He had his big hair, his Ibanez. He had the strings. The strings are uncut at the top. I'm not sure if you can see that, but that's probably because he melted his guitar strings when he played. So it just made it easier to pull those damn things through after he melted them off. So this is an amazing album. Check this out. And last this is my favorite shred album of all time, and just one of my favorite albums in general of all time. Unfortunately, I don't have the vinyl, but I did thrift this CD, and I keep this in my car whenever my phone dies or whatever. Just sometimes I just feel like listening to it, so I just have a CD in my thing at all times. So that is Jason Becker's Perpetual Burn. I mean, the fact that this sticker right here says CD behind the counter tells you everything, because motherfuckers were stealing this shit. They wanted it so bad they were just stealing it. So they had to put the CD behind the counter so that people would stop stealing it. Going home, learning the licks, shredding, taking all the women in the vicinity. because that's how fucking badass this album is. You know, songs on this album, like Altitudes is, I mean, one of the greatest songs of all time, in my opinion. The amount of feeling in that song is incredible. It's such a great mix of shred and feeling, you know. His bends and vibrato are incredible in that song. And speaking of bends and vibrato, Marty Friedman's on like 3 tracks of this album as well. And Marty Friedman, to me, is one of the kings of great vibrato and bending. So the mix of them two is, I mean, I guess you can go check out Cacophony too, which I guess I'll do another video down the line on that. But back to this album. After Altitudes, he goes into Perpetual Burn, which is just so appropriately named because it burns you, because he's ripping and shredding so goddamn hard in that song. You know, the opening sweeps are just incredible, you know. So just like I can't remember if I mentioned Vinnie Moore, and on this Jason Becker album, there's a lot of classical aspects in it too. A couple songs with some classical parts, which is really cool. And actually, this was released on Sharpnel as well. So it was Vinnie Moore, Jason Becker, and the dog from Animal Crossing. So this came out in 1988. I cannot remember how old Jason Becker was, but he was very young when he came out with this album. I mean, I want to say early 20s, like maybe even like 21. I cannot remember. But I know, you know, it's mind-blowing at how good he was at that time, you know, and to come out with an album this incredible is just, it's amazing. So if you have never listened to any of these 3 albums, do yourself a favor and go listen to them now. There's a lot of stuff that you can bring to your own playing by listening to them, you know. That's one of my things I like to do, is listen to these guys that are virtuosos in a sense, and you know, listen to what they're doing and say, man, you're gonna pick things up, you know, and you'll be able to add ideas into your own playing and make it your own, you know, your own style. You don't want to copy exactly what they're doing. You know, you can take what they've done and really own it yourself, you know. So anyways, check out those 3 albums. They're all incredible. If you have any questions or want to add anything, maybe add some albums that you think should be in this list of 3, because I'll probably do more videos down the line of other artists, because I have many of them in mind that I can talk about. So if you want to add some in the comments, and maybe I'll make a video about that as well.